Welcome, everybody, to the Freedom Highway. Here we are, back on YouTube. This is going to be episode 14. It's going to be a solo episode, so it's not going to be quite as long. Maybe about half as long, because there's half the amount of people here. Shout out to Shim, the one and only. We are going to be back soon with him. This is more so along the lines of a bonus episode than really a legit episode, but we will be back. And this episode is going to be entitled Racism in Politics, or just listening to me rant about random things, because that is just how broad racism in politics is. I could say existence, and that would be about the only thing broader than racism in politics. So, it is Sunday, and we are here August 25th. It's about 5 o'clock, a little past 5, and I decided to do a little video for you. It's a beautiful day here at Sunday Studios. About 70, I think low 70s out there, sunny. A little bit of cloud cover, but not bad. And in the news today, we have the G7 summit coming through with racist Donald Trump. And that was a racist statement by saying that he's racist. If you talk about racism is racist, so this whole show was racist. That was racist, even saying racist is racist. So that's racist. And Trump lashes out amid tense G7 summit, saying something along the lines of the media is making fake news about stuff that I said, and it's not real. And you know what, Trump? You're probably right. You are, however, a product of the media. You were on quote-unquote reality, using the term very loosely, reality TV shows. And the Fourth Estate. If anyone has ever heard of that term, you should get to know it. The Fourth Estate. There were originally 3 estates. When the Founding Fathers created the Constitution, when they created this government, there was the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And we now have a 4th estate, and that is the media. They now control politics, they control everything, and they don't control me. I'll tell you that much. They don't control me most of the time. But, you know, I mean, I'm no saint. I am not impervious to the wants and caprice of the Fourth Estate, the media, the mass media, the corporate media would be a better way to put it. Big money, big media. Not sure if that's a term, but it should be. Big media. I'm just little media. I'm baby media. I'm on your YouTube channel, barely making it baby media. But we're loving it. Here at Sunday Studios, we take nothing for granted. And really, if you want to talk about reality, really, what is reality? Reality TV shows, everybody knows that stuff's all scripted. That stuff's all fake. For me, reality is love, friendship, who you're with. That's what reality is. And if you want to say something is real, you're not being real. If you say something about, I don't know, politics should be people who are elected who actually care about their constituency. That's not real because they don't or something. And I would say, you know what, that's just a current state of affairs which could be changed at any time. And just like all of the racism and all of that evilness that's floating around out there right now could be changed anytime. We never know when all the good people are going to start to stand up against all of this white supremacy and all of this evil that is just floating out there all over YouTube. Part of the reason why I'm here on YouTube making this video. Hopefully, some people get the message. But racism in politics is like peanut butter and jelly, folks. It's not the way it should be. I don't think that's what politics really are in reality. But in the current state of affairs, that's how it seems. Racism in politics. If you're white and you live in the South, you probably vote Republican. If you're black in America, you definitely don't vote Republican. You vote Democrat. There are some, some people vote this way, some people vote that way, but generally, that's how it is. And if you are a real racist, then you definitely vote Republican. I don't know many racists who vote Democrat. Most racists can't stand Democrats. And that's not to say that I'm not quote unquote racist. Because some people say, Ian, you're racist. That racism is racist. Yeah. I think that as an American, someone born in this country, and I've said this numerous times, I think that as an American born in this country, we have certain prejudices. And racism in America is a great evil. And it is something that we all must fight every day, whether or not you want to. I think, especially up in the north, we do fight it a lot. We do. And I'm here in Connecticut. And God bless Connecticut. We are one of the states that has always been on the side of justice ever since the Amistad came down. And for many hundreds of years, decades, hundreds of years, centuries, we have been fighting the good fight, and we will not stop. So that is my thing on, we could ask what is, that's a good question. What is racism? Racism is thinking that people are different based on the color of their skin. That's what racism is. Now, of course, no one is different based on the color of their skin. We're all the same. But, and I had to deal with this as part of fighting my racism, is the fact that being black in this country is something that I could probably never understand. I might be able to understand it, but I could probably never really appreciate the struggles that African Americans, Black, Brown, Latino people have to go through every single day, every waking moment of their life, just simply due to the color of their skin. Something that I have my own struggles. People have their own struggles. People in the South, a lot of white people down South got the blues, and don't we know it? You can hear it in the music, you can see it, and poor as dirt. But you know what? What little you got down there is better than what your black brother has. And you know what? That's tough. That's tough for a lot of people, like, white people. That's tough for white people to understand. I think we're starting to come to terms with it. We seem to realize it back in the 60s and in the 70s, and some happened in the 80s and the 90s, and we all just kind of forgot. I think it was all just the gobs of money that we were making in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Just seem to forget all of that. Eventually the economy of the African community will catch up, and we'll all be the same. And you know what? They're just little crybabies. I'm sure that's what a lot of people say. But no, it didn't. The economy of the African American communities, the Black, Brown, Latino communities, never caught up. And now, it's worse than it's ever been. And that's difficult. That's difficult for a lot of white Americans to understand, but you know what? It's your moral imperative for you to understand that. If you don't understand that, go out and talk with some people. Talk with some different kinds of people. Do yourself a favor. Don't just sit in your white bread neighborhood. Go out and talk with some different kinds of people and start to really understand the day-to-day struggles that people go through. And yes, you had it tough growing up. We all did. We all had it tough. Well, I won't say we all did. There were the 1% definitely did not have it tough growing up. The people who run this country, the people who make money off of the poor white people still being racist, even though they know that somewhere deep down inside they know that the African American community has it worse on a day-to-day basis than they do. They still want to fight them, even though they know that if they got together with the black community, that they could make a stand to the 1%, and they could really change things and make their lives better, because God knows they don't have much, and we don't have much. We really don't have much to lose. But, you're like that guy who's got one last penny, and he's holding on to it and not going to let anybody take it away from him. But anyway, that is the little rant. It's kind of like whatever, no one's going to listen to it, but I figure I might as well say it. Might as well be out there and say it, that the 1% is the one that stops, because I know there's a lot of good, decent folk in the South, and they want to work together, but there's just too much in society working against them, and they don't dare. They're too afraid. Too afraid. Well, it's time to put those fears aside. It's time to let go of all those fears, and it's time to unite African American communities, the lower classes, the working classes. It's time for all of us to unite and to stand up against this evil. And this is a little bit of Billy Sunday, trying to get everybody together. 2020's coming, and Trump's going to get reelected. Trump's going to get, he's just doing better than ever. He's doing better than ever. And there's nothing really going to stop him now, because, unless some damning stuff comes out, unless the Dems have something stored up in their little vault there that really takes down Trump, and, I'm sure they do, he's going to win by probably a majority of the popular vote, I would think, because the Democrats are just, whew. It's almost like when Obama ran for election and the Republicans couldn't get their act together and find anybody decent. Now it's Trump's running for re-election and the Democrats can't find anything decent. I think it has a lot to do with what they did to Bernie Sanders. That is a tough one, what they did to Bernie Sanders, What they did Bernie, because Bernie was gonna win. Bernie was gonna get those votes. It was gonna be close. It was gonna be real close. He was probably gonna beat out Hillary, but they did some dirty stuff. The DNC did some dirty stuff. They didn't want a child of our father Israel, to all of our fathers, to be a president, to be our president. But joke's on them, because it looks like we didn't want a woman, even more so, to be our president. So that's another one of the isms that I have to face every day: feminism, sexism, fascism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, you name it. Potatoes, tomatoes, green beans, you name it. You got to fight it. You got to beat it. We got to get together. That's Billy Sunday, preaching at you live twice, saying it all 600 times in a row, so that you know. And that's my take on racism in politics. Is a 13-minute rant. I do my rants mostly on Facebook. If you search Billy Sunday, I'm in Connecticut. Search Billy Sunday, Connecticut. You will find me. And I do a lot of rants like this. I've kind of ranted out for today, but I'm going on some extra steam that I got. Busted out the hollow leg for this rant. I decided to pick a real easy topic, something that I could pretty much just rant about ranting on: racism in politics, peanut butter and jelly, I don't know, sweet and sour, like salted sea salt and dark chocolate. They just have that I don't know what. They just have it. And it seems like everybody in politics is racist. You don't really have a whole lot of women up in big upper echelons. I mean, look at the Senate. Congress is getting there, especially in this last round. Congress is getting there, but look at the Senate. Male, pale, and very stale. And maybe someday that'll change. I think it will change sooner rather than later. Every single president, except for Barack Obama, has been a white male. He was a male. He wasn't a woman. He appealed to the women. Part of the reason why he got elected. But, that's just our politics. Very racist. Very, very racist. I was watching a documentary about the Civil War, which is really good. Really good Ken Burns documentary about the Civil War. And there's a really, really good little, I don't know what, a little comment that somebody made that I thought was very, very profound about this country and how deep racism is into this country. And that was, if you want to talk about one thing, one incident that helped spark the Civil War, that would be the fact that when the Founding Fathers created the Constitution, they did not include anything about slavery because they did not think they would get the Constitution passed, therefore setting up what would inevitably be the Civil War. Thought that was a great, maybe a little eye-opening, that racism, slavery itself, I mean, obviously racism, because what was slavery, but an even deeper evil, a horrible, atrocious, unforgettable manifestation of racism, they just didn't want to deal with. They didn't want to deal with it. Guys like George Washington, and Thomas Jefferson, all those guys, they all had slaves. They didn't care. They had slaves. So, there you go. There it is right there. They all had slaves, and they knew it, too. They knew it. They knew that slavery was going to be an issue. All of the Founding Fathers knew that. They knew that at some point, by not dealing with slavery, that they were going to have to deal with it later, and they were kind of just leaving this can of worms for, the next generation. Thank God Abraham Lincoln was elected president, fought that war, and saved essentially the soul of this country. And, I myself am from St. Louis, so I can claim a little bit of my southern heritage. I'm not in the deep south. No, I am not from the deep south, but I live here in Connecticut now, so my Missouri days are long gone, but they're still there. And good old Missouri. You want to talk about racism and politics? There is not one state in this union more linked to racism, the idea or the controversy or whatever you want to issue of racism in politics, than Missouri. The Missouri Compromise, the single act that created the state, the beautiful, great show-me state of Missouri, was that Missouri would be a northern state, part of the Union, northern state that held slaves, that allowed slavery, but would still be considered in the North. That was essentially was the last state that was created to make a balance between North and South. So it was a state that had slaves. You were allowed to have slaves in Missouri. However, it was considered part of the North, part of the Union, if you will. Don't quote me on that. I just started reading my history of Missouri. I pretty much got to the part where St. Louis was founded. My city. I'm a city boy. I know I got my country. I'll always be a country boy, but I'm always a city boy. Kind of a, Anyway, what am I talking about? It's another Billy Sunday moment. And you know what? It's getting to 20 minutes, and I'm starting to go on. It's starting to stop making sense. And I got to the point where St. Louis was founded. Didn't quite get to the compromise, but we'll get there soon. But that's pretty much the gist of it. It was a slaveholding state, but it was the last one admitted into the Union to balance the power between North and South. So essentially, the greatest union of racism in politics that probably history has ever known. Missouri. And that's it, 20 minutes. I won't take you to the next 10. I think I'm pretty much on this topic could take you to the next 10 years. But I'm not going to do it. This is YouTube. And tempted to go there. Really am tempted to go there. But I'm going to just shut it down now. And say that the rest of the week looks really great. The weather looks nice. It's going to get up into the 80s. Labor Day weekend looks like it's going to be phenomenal. So I hope everybody has some fun over the holiday. And I'm wishing everybody a good rest of their Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right. Billy Sunday saying goodbye.